You're listening to Hackers IRL. We're the people the news pretends are a single character. We are not. We pop shells, walk our dogs, fight with our printers, and somehow ship the work. This show is voicemails. Brain dumps from our side of the wire about whatever's on our minds. The line stays open. Up next, Panda with Ashura, the superheroes of cybersecurity. Here's their story.
Hey guys, it's Panda. I'm almost back home now. I just dropped my buddy Christian off that I did HackSpaceCon with. It's a really good time. I'm like super worn out today. I'm excited to get back home and just chill. And I have some work I got to do tonight. I'm doing some report stuff for an engagement I'm on. But thankfully it's not too crazy. So mostly just gonna get home, relax. It's super rainy here in Florida. We really need the rain though, so I'm not too bothered by it. But the storms were pretty crazy getting back up here. There was some time where there's barely any visibility. HackSpaceCon was amazing. It's always a lot of work, but hanging around the community and seeing what they got out of it makes every bit worth it. And this time, I think my biggest highlights, I talked about the satellite hacking with Tim Fowler. That class was awesome. And I really, really can't wait to see the commercial Tempest satellite kits that he wants to release. So he actually wants to do like a self-paced training option where you can order your own CubeSat and ground station and hack on those at home in like a self-paced learning environment. Tim's definitely, the guy to put it together. So can't wait to see what he does there. And during class, one of the things that we got a preview of that he also did talked about in his talk was Ares, which is an exploitation toolkit for satellites. Similar to Metasploit. He's trying to do a similar, framework, kind of exploitation toolkit that the community can build on, similar to something that we're all familiar with. So, yeah, I know he's going to release some of that work at DEF CON. So, if you're into satellite hacking, watch for that. As far as stuff yesterday, I didn't actually do any talks. I missed a lot of friends speaking, so I will go back and watch the recordings when they come out. I know we got at least video, or sorry, no, not video, but like slides and audio for each talk. So, I always try to make it a point to go back and watch, the talks that I really want to watch, whether it's my buddies or just a topic I'm interested in. So I think it went well for most of the people there. My game was really fun. So I guess most of yesterday I spent in the main conference center. I'll just start there and I'll try to just talk about various parts of my day. So like I was running a analog telephone competition that I designed with some other friends at home. And we ran it at B-Sides Jack's originally, but I brought it to HackSpaceCon, and the whole game is played through 66 blocks. So you have a test butt set, and there's 66 blocks on a board, and the whole premise is that it's like a telephone room of a fictional company called Badges Incorporated, and their employees are very passionate about making the ultimate conference badges. So there's a lot of badge discussion ideas and similar on some of the lines. There's a lot of like figure history in the game. A lot of just really cool flags to expose someone to, and they get a lot of experience using a lineman's test set, or a butt set, interacting with the platform. So unless you had one of those jobs where you needed to move fax lines or phones or whatever else, you don't really touch that stuff. So I wanted to do that in my game and give people that experience. And also, it's just nostalgic and comforting for me. Um, so the team that won, there were 8 teams that signed up to play. Various teams had different levels of effort. Some would like pick up a test set and, try one or two things, wander off, hey, I'll get back to it later, or this or that, and like never come back. There were a bunch of people who did dig in and, listen to a bunch of messages. Um, I feel like the way that this specific game is constructed, there's a point that you have to get to within the game to even know what the questions are for the game. That's kind of by design, but it does mean that it's hard to tell the difference from someone who didn't put any effort in versus someone who spent some time but just didn't get the questions. Because once you get past that point, then you can start, throwing flags on the board. Um, anyway, I've been running competitions for a while now, at various events, and I always feel like, um, I don't know what it is, but stuff always comes together. I feel like I've always had the right people playing my game in the end, for whatever reason. I've been really lucky there. Because games aren't fun without players, and if you don't have someone to teach something to, or you know, a challenge, a competition, it's not as fun to play. If the stakes are nothing, it's not fun. So anyway, the right players this time, out of those 8 teams or so that registered, the Manta Rays actually dug in, and they were on the lines all day long. And I'm so incredibly proud of the work that they did. They didn't just lead, because other teams didn't get on the board. They were the only team that actually got to the point that they were throwing flags on the board. But they didn't just stop. They could have stopped at a couple flags and just hoped no one else got on the board. They kept going until they had the entire game completed with 900 points. So it was really cool to see. So props to them. They won black badges. The badges at HackSpace this year were really cool. They were basically like there's a bunch of different badges that would connect together, and if you won a black badge, it was all of the badges kind of soldered together in this cool configuration. And one of the things, these conferences sometimes can seem really polished from the outside. One of the things that kind of shows like just sometimes stuff's a little chaotic and you got to run with it. We needed black badges soldered up for closing ceremonies, but we had an issue where, for whatever reason, we didn't end up getting any of the components for our badges, just the raw PCBs. So I wasn't prepared with soldering stations. I actually have a ton of those in my closet. And I didn't bring any of that stuff or any of my components just because I didn't think it was needed. I thought they were covered. So to connect the badges together to give them to the black badge winners, I ended up doing like giant blobs of solder and just direct soldering using a little jig that I made with a couple pins to hold the pieces in the correct place while I soldered them. So it took me like, because each one has 5 parts, and I had to hold them really awkwardly, and I even soldered like the first 2 technically incorrectly, but they're not functional anyway, and it's super. They're still really pretty. Um, but it took me like 5 hours or something throughout yesterday, just to kind of solder those together. But it was a lot of fun because while I was doing it, people would come up and they would kind of peek at what I'm doing, and it's like you're never alone at a conference. I don't want to go hide away in the back room. If I have black badges, I want to tell people about them and I want to show them what they can win and, let them know all it really takes is just, digging in deeper. Like the Manta Rays did today. So, or yesterday, sorry. It's been a long conference. But anyway, I'm almost home. I'm gonna take my puppy out and um, chill, and I don't know, maybe I'll watch a movie or something. I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. I hope everyone at HackSpaceCon had an amazing.
Thanks for listening to Hackers IRL. Background music is Simplicity by Macroform. If you've got a story of your own, a breach, a leak, a close call, or just something on your mind, join us. Call 904-915-HACK. That's 904-915-4225. Up to 10 minutes. Choose to preserve your OPSEC, and we distort your voice before anyone hears it. End of transmission.